Hey everybody, so I just wanted to let you know that the video you are about to see is the replay from the Instagram live that I ended up doing in lieu of the live chat and channel session that I was trying to do here on YouTube, but YouTube was not complying. So I love you, YouTube, and my loyal YouTube subscribers and chat and channel viewers. I so appreciate you, but I'm sorry that those two chat and channel streams that I tried for live tonight just weren't working. So I did the live on my Instagram. Be sure that you're following both places to stay up to date, and you are about to see that replay with the full chat and channel session that I know will prove useful to you in your empath survivalness during the holiday season, whatever holiday it is now for you, as this is timeless. Apologies if the distraction of me speaking to people live gets to you, but please stick in there because the information that came through is stellar. Enjoy the replay and happy holidays. Hey everybody, welcome. Happy Wednesday. Happy Thanksgiving Eve. So shout out to you, my loyal YouTube chat and channel session viewers. I love you, and this will be available and have plenty of timeless information in it, I promise. As you can see from the topic, we are going to be discussing tonight Holiday Survival Guide for Empaths. As I said, as I am recording this live, tomorrow is Thanksgiving here in the United States. But stay tuned if you are not an American. We are going to be talking about things that can apply to you in any holiday situation as an empath, whether that is any of the later in the year holidays that we have here, such as Christmas, Ramadan, of course Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, any of those holidays, or for birthdays or any group family gatherings as well. So if you are new to my chat and channel sessions, welcome. My name is Danielle, #damsel at dsenlightenededits of damseldesigns.com. I am a spiritual advisor, psychic medium, quantum channel, and energy healer, as well as life and consciousness coach and energy artist. And in these chat and channel sessions, my guides, or in some cases some of you, present me with a topic and we do a stream of consciousness channeling about it. Now, as you can see, tonight's topic, or today's, whenever you're viewing this, it's timeless and right for you, is, as I said, Holiday Survival Guide for Empaths. We're going to be really focusing on making the decision of how and when to go to family gatherings, and we're really going to be deep diving on if it is right for you to go to holiday gatherings based on your energy at the time. We're also going to be talking about, if you do decide that it's healthy for you to go to those holiday gatherings, how you can conduct your energy and how you can respect the energy of yourself and others. Hi, thank you for popping in live. We're doing a live channeling for chat and channel sessions, so feel free to listen in, and if you are watching here live, ask me questions about the topic if you like. So as I said, we're going to be going over this, and I want to invite you, because of the nature of chat and channel sessions, even though there's a little extra energy here because we're going live. Hey Lisa, thank you for coming in. I want to invite you to really listen and understand that this is a transmission element as well. So feel free to get out a journal and maybe undertake some of this as a journal prompt and see what information comes to you as you are listening into the stream of consciousness channeling. One of the things that my guides have gifted me with is the ability to activate people's own intuition. So you may find that as we're going over the topic, you may have some information that streams into you and inspires you with things that are personal to you about this topic. So where I want to start is talking about making that decision of how to participate in holidays as an empath or awakened or energy sensitive person. Especially if you're someone with anxiety, making this decision on whether or not to go to or have people to your location for holidays can be difficult, and I've experienced it myself, and I've underwent coaching and healing with clients who have difficulty making that decision. And this is because, in my experience, most empaths and energy sensitive people are what I like to call the pattern disruptors in the family. And so we're usually the ones that are here to recognize all or as many of the family patterns or karmas as possible, and to be the one that recognizes and notices those things really aren't healthy. And I would really like to change that, because before going through this process where we see those things for what they are, they can do a great deal of harm to us. You know, we can hurt each other as a family, or we can feel neglected, even if it's not the typical type of neglect or abuse or trauma that we're used to seeing publicized or dramatized in the media. Remember that trauma can be anything that is personal to you and that overwhelms your nervous system. This is why two people and two family members can go through a traumatic experience or the same experience, and one processes as trauma and the other seems perfectly fine, because every individual, even biological twins, will process events differently, and trauma really is defined only as the things that are overwhelming to our individual nervous system, which can be anything. So it's time to drop the shame around being traumatized or about having a traumatic reaction to things that other people in the family did not necessarily take on as trauma. And I see someone here in the comments saying, guilty of that, cycle breaker. Yes, I love you, my fellow cycle breakers. I know that we don't often get the praise that we need or crave or desire in the family, but remember that we're doing it for a higher purpose than that. And I also want to remind you that if you are also a cycle breaker or a pattern buster or pattern disruptor, you're not necessarily doing it for those other people, because if we're still doing it for those other people, we are engaging in patterns of codependency, which are some of the very things that we are here to end and disrupt and heal from. So while it is admirable to love your family and want them to be healthy along with you, you need to find the reasons that you're doing that for you and for the children or the people that you're going to pass on positivity to, rather than the hurt that may have been passed on to you. You want to find the reasons that you're doing it for you and know that that's not selfish and that you are doing that, and then we'll just embody that light and the inspiration of the cycle being ended, healed, or changed. And that inspiration needs to be enough for the people in your life and for your loved ones. And if it's not enough, it's not your fault. It's up to them. Remember that everyone needs to make that decision for themselves on whether or not they're going to take the inspiration of that healing and then find their own cues and ways to heal or to overcome their anxiety or to make amends. We are not here to be forceful awakeners to others. This is why I'm very careful to try to use language like in my opinion or in my experience, because especially as a quantum healer, I respect everyone's beliefs and experiences, and I respect everyone's right to experience, process, or believe things differently. I believe that is crucial to the quantum and crucial to really trusting and respecting higher power and the fact that we'll all have a different relationship with whatever we believe higher power to be. It's also why, if we do decide to go to the family gatherings, we need to remember that while we may be very inspired by the things that we are healing and learning in our life, whether that is spiritual things, whether that's political, perhaps other health orientations or psychological orientations, such as mindfulness or boundary work, sometimes we get really excited and hyper fixated on those things in our life, and we want to share them because we love the people in our family and we see that they may be struggling with similar things. But in my experience, it's not necessarily always the time or place or right thing to do to have that conversation where we kind of overshare about all these things that we've learned or are learning or are healing, because we have to remember that that may not be the best conversation for those loved ones to have. And while they may trigger us by trying to speak about political things or hurts from our past or any of that that we know we don't want to talk about, us talking about our spirituality or our mental health could be a trigger for them and could be information that they're just simply not ready to take on. Even talking about things like our sobriety. There are a lot of people who I know go back to family gatherings after becoming sober, or who maybe never had an addictive problem with drugs or alcohol, but choose to be sober and refrain from certain activities that can be a large part of people's holidays, such as drinking, and they do that for their own health reasons or mental health or spiritual reasons. And if we talk about these things, sometimes we cannot realize we're doing so in a semi-manipulative undercurrent type of way, and we can forget that we need to allow those people in our lives to have their own path and make their own decisions of if they're ready to have those conversations or come to those healings. And we also need to be ready to accept the fact that they may not be ready, that it may not be the best conversation for them to have, that holidays may not be the best time to have that conversation, or they may need to come about those decisions in their own time and way, which may have nothing to do with us being directly involved or being their healers, but may just come from us being some form of inspiration to them in a way that's still respectful to their soul sovereignty, to their sovereign energy, and to whatever decisions that they are making that is best for them. I'm just going to pause to read a comment here. Thank you guys for coming in. So Dream says, there is one thing that I'm afraid of. My Gram's house is not accessible, and I'm always anxious every night. Oh, this is Jamie. I'm sorry. I always forget your screen name, Jamie. My Gram's house is not accessible, and I'm always anxious because every year getting in her house because I'm so afraid of falling out of my wheelchair. Any advice? Yeah, so for you, that's obviously going to be very individualized, but I would, see about having that conversation in terms of letting it become a little bit lighter for you, and knowing that you can share that you're sharing that you're sometimes nervous about entering the house because it's not accessible. Maybe give yourself some extra time, trying to be there early if you can, and if not, because I know I was in that position, and I know that sometimes if we can't get there early, or if we're running late because of our health or pain issues on the day, being willing to maybe take some people aside or text them, perhaps if you can't get them to the side physically, and let them know either you're running late or you're specifically coming early because of the fact of things may be happening with your health, and it makes you a little bit uncomfortable to get in the situation. So are there family members that can help you access the house and get comfortable kind of before you start your family event, and before you start your participation in that event? So just let everybody know, hey, I want to get in and get comfortable before I say hello to everyone, or I want to get in and get comfortable before we start eating, or before I take my plate to start eating. And just starting that process of having the vocalization and the communication of the fact, rather than trying to suppress it and repress the uncomfortableness, can reduce some of the anxiety, and it can also open the door for loved ones that are around, that may be willing to help with that and help you get into a good place in the house, who maybe wouldn't have offered before because they might have felt uncomfortable in bringing it up to you. So if you bring it up first, you'll see who volunteers, or if no one volunteers, you can specifically ask who you think would be strong enough to help you get in a good spot there in the house for the holiday. But I do thank you for reminding me. I want to circle back to, if you are not necessarily the person who is comfortable going to these gatherings. So I know we just spoke about how to be comfortable and what conversations may be appropriate or not appropriate for certain situations for our health and respect, and for the health and respect of others. But I do want to say the unpopular thing and the unpopular opinion, which is that not everyone's going to want to go to the holidays, especially all of the empaths. We're not necessarily going to want to or feel comfortable going to the holidays. While we may love our family, if we are those pattern disruptors, and especially if we've gone through trauma that our family may have been involved in or contributed to in some way, going to family holidays may be more stressful than celebratory. And depending on where you are in your healing journey, you need to be able to make that decision for yourself of, is it really good for you to be there this year? And I find it better to make that decision on a year-by-year basis rather than kind of a blanket decision, which can be more stressful, to say that you may never want to go to family holidays again. Leave room for people to grow and heal and change. So I would personally take that on a year-to-year basis, unless it's someone that has disrespected you enough times or hurt you enough times that you no longer want them in your life at all. But if you can, take it on a year-by-year basis and just check in with yourself and see where you are in your healing journey. Does it feel safe for you to go to the holidays? Is it bringing you joy? Do you find that you can enjoy yourself and contribute to the joy of others in that situation? Or is it bringing up more of your trauma? Because, again, depending on where you are and depending on the level of respect or boundary respect that others may be prepared to give you, it may not always be healthy for you to go to those family holidays. And I want to encourage you to make that decision without the fear or the shame and without the impression of what you believe other people's reaction would be, and don't make the decision for them based on if they would be hurt or not, because that's doing both of you a disservice. First of all, you could be assuming what their reaction would be wrong. And second of all, it's codependency to make a decision of whether or not we do something based on what we believe other people's reaction would be. Other people's reaction needs to be on them. And we need to find peace and power and empowerment with our decision, and trust and faith with our decision for us. And so I want to say the thing that most people don't say, which is that if you make that decision that it's not safe and or healthy for you to be in certain family environments for the holidays, trust that, and trust your spirit team, and trust your guidance, and trust your intuition, and know that it's something that has the potential to change. Leave space for the grief as well of you making that decision, and of you maybe not having a family or a family member at this moment in time that you feel comfortable celebrating with. And also, if you can, leave space for the fact that that may change some other time, but for now, this is your decision. And then it may warrant some conversations with people, to have conversations with the family of why you don't feel it's really appropriate for you to go to a certain gathering, and know that you don't have to really give an explanation why. You can just say, you're not feeling it this year, you're not feeling up to it this year, or you've decided that you want to do something else with your holiday this year. And know that no matter how much they may prod you or want an explanation, you do have the right to say, I just don't feel comfortable giving an explanation at this time, or I'm just doing something else. Maybe we'll circle back and have this conversation some other time when it's not the holiday. And then maybe you can have the conversation with them if a certain other family member makes you uncomfortable, or if some of their behavior makes you uncomfortable, and then perhaps the next holidays can be better for you. Hi Anna, thank you for coming in. Because having access to this information where it tells you that it's okay to make those decisions for you is something that I wish was available for me and for my clients much earlier in life. And I also do want to speak about it and let it to be known that boundaries are so important, and communicating these things are so important. And also, sometimes when you make that decision of if it's not appropriate or healthy for you to go to a certain situation that you may have outgrown or may no longer be relevant or resonant for you and where you are in your health, you leave space to perhaps have a celebration with chosen family and soul family who you are maybe more resonant with at this time. Remember that as you grow and as you undertake this healing in your life, thank you so much, Anna, for saying that here in the live chat. You always make my day too, sweetie. But remember that as you grow and experience these things in your healing and in your life, the people, and especially the family in your life, may not be growing and healing or learning things at the same rate as you, especially if you are that pattern or energy or karmic cycle disruptor like we were speaking about earlier. They may be very attached to those karmas and those karmic ways of being and those patterns. They may not be soul contracted to heal those things at this point in their journey. And as you kind of grow more, and they maybe stay the same or grow at a slower or different rate, right? Nobody is better than anybody else. But as we grow at different rates, you may find that you're just less and less resonant with the family or the people in your life, friends as well, even if you're not contributing to each other's trauma, right? Even if there's not a reason why it's unsafe for you to be around each other. But as you do so much of this type of work, you're going to probably grow apart in resonance from those people in your life. So that's something to bear in mind as well when making your decisions of whether or not to go to holiday. And also when you're at holiday, it's something to keep in mind, because the conversations that we have with the people in our lives and the people in our family are going to be different based on where we are in our healing journey. And we need to learn to understand that the less we can expect things to be the same or to have in common when we go into these type of situations, especially if we're going into holidays where we maybe haven't seen those people for a year or for an extended period of time, because of the pandemic, probably even more than a year for a lot of you. There may be points where communication is hard or communication is difficult, or you just feel like you don't have as much in common. And that's not in your imagination. It's really showing you how much you've grown and healed and changed. And that may not necessarily be comfortable for the people in our lives. So just like we were speaking about earlier in the session, if it's appropriate to share the things that we are healing about or not. The same kind of goes for experiencing conversation with the loved ones in our lives, because while we may not really be triggered by them and have no problem with them and maybe can enjoy a holiday with them, we may notice that we just really don't have as much in common or to talk about anymore, or the things that they talk about can trigger us even if it's not them that necessarily trigger us. So the really emphasized thing earlier here in the channeling was about if those people kind of trigger us based on things we may have gone through or ways that we may have been treated. But there's also an association where family members could not necessarily be the ones that hurt us directly or are our triggers, but they could be their conversations or their behavior could be the trigger for us. They could be very much obsessed with talking about an opposing view of politics, or they could be bringing up the world tragedies over and over, even if they see or hear that it is affecting you negatively, and even if you ask them to stop and let's not focus on that right now during holiday time. Or they could bring up things from your past, right? How often is it that you go through experience where maybe you've had a breakup or a divorce, you're no longer with someone, and people tend to bring up that person or that situation and want to ask you about it, even if it's not feeling good for you. And so you need to be the one in the position of power to really say, I'm not comfortable talking about that right now, or they're not in my life anymore, or they're only in my life based on the relationship with the kids. And, we need to realize that it could be in their mental loop and in their patterned loop to keep going over and over the situations. And that may not be where we are anymore. So in that case, we have to see, is it healthy for us to still be conversing with those people, or do we need to step back and maybe, leave early, or are they capable of respecting a boundary if we set it live and they're in the moment of saying, I don't really want to talk about it. I don't want to have this conversation right now. Let's maybe talk about it privately and not at the holiday event, and let's have a conversation of why that's not really a part of my life anymore, or why that's not appropriate anymore. So there are all these different levels of interacting with family at the family gatherings, whether that's Thanksgiving, whether that's Hanukkah or Christmas or New Year's, or if you're listening to this chat and channel at another time, even birthday or baby showers or weddings, whatever holiday you need this empath survival guide for. I hope that it speaks to you, and I hope that you find the different levels and layers and facets of your individualized empath experience in terms of knowing that it can feel different for you to experience holiday now at this point in your empathic journey than it did as a child. And leave space as well for the grief of the realization of that. You know, it can feel different for us to holiday now, either as adults or as people who may be experiencing anxiety or just maybe at a different point in our healing. And that's why holidays are very often filled with nostalgia, which is also something that can be good to talk about if you find that you're still really enjoying and loving spending time with your family. Maybe the boundary thing isn't as much as an issue for you, but maybe your particular issue just is that you don't have a lot to talk about anymore that you are both comfortable speaking about because your lives are just in different directions. And so in that case, nostalgia can be a great comfort zone to talk about positive family memories, or to maybe bring up photos, or to bring up loved ones in spirit who, obviously have passed over and are not there, and talk about memories and invite them into the situation in light and love and positivity. Maybe you can watch old movies or home movies and know that there can still be a lot of ways for you to connect at the holiday event and with the holiday event, where the focus doesn't have to be continuously drawn back to your level of healing or your anxiety. So find those safe spaces for you at the holiday gathering. Find those safe space people if you are comfortable sharing with the people that you are going with, or that you know will be there, that you can have spiritual conversation with, or that you can talk to about your level of healing or your anxiety. Plan a little bit with them in advance and have a conversation with them and say, hey, I want to go to this holiday gathering, I want to see the family, I want to engage, but I'm feeling a little bit nervous or anxious or uncomfortable, and I don't necessarily know how I'm going to feel, so can you just back me up and be in my corner? And if you see that I'm kind of on my own or checking out or possibly dissociating, which is something that happens among empaths and traumatized people, can you pull me to the side or outside, or come be my support and backup? And hopefully you will have someone like that you're able to have at the gathering with you, whether that is a spouse or a partner, or perhaps a parent or a sibling or a cousin, whoever it is for you. That is wonderful. Plan it with them in advance. And thankfully, since we all have cell phones now, this is a little tip. Hopefully people that you're doing this in front of won't have seen this chat and channel, although I do want a lot of people to see it eventually. But text people, if you can't pull people to the side, set up with them in advance that you're going to text them, and feel comfortable and safe that they're not going to announce that into the room. But if you're having a moment where you're just anxious, maybe you can text them, or just text them a certain emoji. Maybe plan to do a certain emoji so that if they know that you're feeling overwhelmed, have a checkout emoji, have a go into the bathroom emoji, meet me there. Some kind of plan that you can develop depending on your level of anxiety. And if, by the way, you have anxious or on the spectrum children, I have found in my work with clients, this is also something that can be helpful to do, so that you don't necessarily need to bring it up to the intention or to the attention of the entire room. And if they are at a point in their age where they have their own cell phone, maybe they can just text you that certain emoji and let you know that they're starting to go over the edge and feel uncomfortable, which a lot of times kids that are struggling with anxiety or are on the spectrum and tend to get overwhelmed, which being on the spectrum and being an empath tend to go hand in hand, so keep that in mind. That's a tool that I like to recommend to my clients in that situation, so that you can all try to experience the best out of your holidays. So with that, if we don't have any questions in particular for those of you who are watching live, I'm going to begin to wrap up this chat and channel session. Thank you so much for those of you who are watching on the replay. I apologize if you are one of my very loyal and appreciative YouTube subscribers as well. Thank you for big milestones there recently. And I apologize if you were trying to view the live that I was trying to stream on YouTube earlier. This is being recorded right now on my Instagram live, and I am re-uploading it here on YouTube as well. And it is my hope and intention that this can be timeless material that you can come back to whenever you feel the need. It will be on my YouTube in the chat and channel sessions playlist, and you can view previous chat and channel session podcast episodes, most of the time which are not live like this, through the playlist link, which on Instagram is in my bio or on YouTube is in the video description. I encourage you to check those out. Absolutely all of them tend to be, or not absolutely, most of them tend to be timeless material based on metaphysical and spiritual and sometimes mental health or other inspired topics that can help you in different points of your journey. And I love those of you who work with the content, take it as journal prompts, and undergo your own healing processes based on this channeled information. So thank you so much for those of you who participate in that way. Feel free to leave a comment on the YouTube and let me know, which of these tips you found most helpful. I would love to hear that. If you have a topic for a chat and channel session that you would like me and my guides to do a stream of consciousness channeling on, you can leave that there as well. Excuse me, throat chakra. And by the way, if you would like to work with me, you could visit my website, Damsel Designs, damcldesigns.com. Currently, at the time of this recording, if you're watching this in another year, it might not be relevant anymore, but at the time of this recording, I have already launched my Thanksgiving holiday specials, so you can visit the main page on my website, damseldesigns.com, to find out more information about those. If you would like to really undergo the process of energy healing with me and working on your patterns, perhaps doing so in a trauma-informed or soul retrieval type of way, you can use the link in my bio or in the description if you're on YouTube to contact me for a consultation about quantum, Sikhem, and shamanic energy healing, as well as life and consciousness coaching. I am currently taking on additional one-on-one clients for those customized containers, and while I do offer quantum and Akashic records and other types of spiritual support sessions on my website, we don't actually undergo the healing portion in those sessions. We get you a lot of information and tools and guides on where to go in individual sessions, but if you are really invested in your healing journey and you want someone to create that safe space container with you and make room for your growth, help you work through things from the past, understand the present, and get the tools to project into your most desired futures without your lens really needing to be clouded and muddled with those ancestral karmas, those past life karmas or traumas, or those inner child wounds or limiting beliefs, you're going to want to contact me for that consultation so we can get to know each other, see where your soul's at, what it needs, and see if we're a good fit to deep dive and rise and build you that customized quantum energy healing container. So I would love to work with more of you in that capacity. If you are not a follower or subscriber, please do subscribe and stick around for more inspirational content and metaphysical content and advice. And if this or any of my other free and public works have helped you and you feel called and drawn and able to support the channel and my free and public works and channels such as this, you can also do so through all amounts appreciated energy exchange and appreciation donations through paypal.me/dsenlightenededits or the donate links in the bio or description. That is not a requirement. However, I do make it available to those of you who want to support more of this work getting publicly out there, and I appreciate all of you who undertake that route. I appreciate everyone for being here and sticking in with the replay and or the live. If you are here live, thank you you so much. You being here is an energy exchange, and you being a follower or a subscriber or sharing this material with others that may find it helpful is an energy exchange, and all of that is so very appreciated, especially if you were drawn here because you are that pattern disruptor in your family. While I would love to work with you and help you do that in a more desirable and perhaps enlightened way for you, if we never work together or speak to each other ever again, I'm so thankful to have been part of your process in the way that I have been. Thank you so much for allowing me to be part of your holidays and or your holiday prep. And I'm excited about the ways that you're going to use this material and energy to go forward in your life in a happier and healthier way. And I know and trust, and I hope you will too, that you embodying this spirit and undertaking this journey is going to be more than enough inspiration for the people who are ready to heal with you and to be with you and to see and recognize and honor you for the amazing person that you are now, and for the benefit that they can make in their own life, in their own way, from your amazing example. So thank you for being you and being out there in the world with whatever ways that you see fit to share your light. And with that, I really am going to close this chat and channel session for the night. Happy and blessed holidays. I hope to see you next time with Love, Light, and Light Codes. Love, Danielle. #damsel at dsenlightenededits of damseldesigns.com. Bye for now. Be blessed.